Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We liked our movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweet sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie with a Y.
And I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And I'm Tobo Man. Toto Man. Hey guys, happy Christmas month.
It's the holiday season.
Movie season.
Dickory dock. Don't forget to put up your clock.
Is that the song?
It's like with holiday songs, you like know them but don't.
Yeah.
Obviously, the lyrics.
I mean,
can be
I feel like
somewhat
that's
spotty.
I feel like that's all songs for us, not just Christmas songs.
Well, they're coming down the chimney now.
La, 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 clocks. So it's Christmas and
Oh, don't forget to put up your sock.
sock. That makes sense. Yeah. Although I don't call it a sock, I call it a stocking. But you know, what are you gonna do? It's Christmas. We picked some Christmas movies. We are now watching those movies. I was up first, and I said Turbo Man because it's actually called Jingle All The Way. Sorry. Jingle All The
Way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in Arnold
although-
Schwarzenegger sleigh. Hey.
So, like, thinking about it now, though, like, that is a stupid fucking name for this
it's not
movie.
a good name.
It has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that it's, like, a line from a Christmas song. But just call it Turbo Man. Like,
Yeah.
I know they wanted to, like, get the Christmas aspect of it somehow. Like, this is a holiday movie, right? You don't want a movie like Lethal Weapon where you're like, definitely not a holiday movie,
Right.
but then people are messaging you and are saying, like, that's a holiday movie.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Not the best example, but you know what I mean. So I get it, but not really. I still think it's a dumb title.
Yeah, I think they just picked the Christmas tune that could like possibly connect somehow. Just
Oh, what fun it is to ride.
just like
open
he's
sleigh?
jingling
There's
all
no
the way
sleighs?
to get the. I mean, it's kind of like a journey, right? The movie is like an epic. It's a journey. It's the epic of Gilgamesh. Yeah. So Christmas movies. This one is from 1996. So we're talking about right smack dab in the mid 90s.
Love it.
I would have been 13. Sweetie 9. 10.
We'll say 10.
10. I've never saw this movie. I've never seen it. I've heard it talked about. I remember when it came out. I feel like when Christmas movies came out, new ones, I didn't really like see them.
The only one we saw like in the theater was The Grinch on Christmas.
Yes.
With the Contis.
Yep.
And Little Women, if you want to count that as a Christmas
Okay.
movie. I don't know if that
Yeah.
came out during Christmas or what. I'm not sure. But those are the only things I remember.
I don't remember seeing
But you're right.
a lot of new ones.
We would see them like on when they aired on TV, or we would rent the video from the video store.
I mean, I feel like I'm one of those people, and our family was too, that we weren't like the season came around and we're like, okay, time to see a holiday movie. Like we didn't really care. We weren't
Well,
like
we
that.
liked
kind
our
of
old. We liked watching our
Exactly.
classics.
We were into the classics.
We weren't about to be like, let's find a new classic.
Yeah, we were. It's a Wonderful
That's
Life.
not our
We were
style.
A Miracle on 34th Street, like Babes in Toyland, 1980s version. Yeah. So I've never seen it, but you know, I know it's like a pretty famous one now, and really speaks to a lot of people because of this hysteria that has come. There was around it in the 80s and the 90s around this like popular toy craze, right? So we were alive for, you know, some of the 80s one, but we don't remember, but we definitely remember like the 90s one. So we'll talk about that and toys and kind of the craziness around trying to get that like crazy toy everyone wants every year. But like this movie, it was sweet. It was good. It was not terrible. You know, a lot of Christmas movies, especially the new ones, are just bad.
I think it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of like LOL moments that I respected. And usually we hate like dumb humor, and there was some of that, but a lot of the humor is like physical in a way that's not annoying.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe that.
And
it's not like people keep getting hurt. It's
Right.
like somewhat like a statue's head catches on fire and it kicks it through the window at the carolers, like something like that.
Yeah, and I think it was a good combination for kids and adults kind of movie because you had, there's some really good visual aesthetic stuff. You have the superhero sort of Mighty Morphin Power Ranger angle that like kids like, and then you have the action part with Arnold Schwarzenegger doing his actiony stuff.
Got to get it in somehow.
And then you have like this sort of slapstick comedy, but then also some clever like line comedy. So I think it was like a good mix. I was pleasantly surprised. And a lovely message, which is what always a holiday movie usually sets out to do, right? Like, what are we learning from this?
Do your Christmas shopping early.
Yes, that too, but also the importance of giving during the holiday. It's all about presents and yada yada yada. But this movie also features one of our favorite themes.
Oh. Bad dad. He's a bad dad. Yeah.
He's the baddest.
I thought you were going to say Arnold Schwarzenegger. I was like, yes.
So I feel like holiday movies also, the bread and butter of Xmas movies is a bad dad or bad parent theme in general, right?
Always a bad dad.
Yeah. I feel like that is almost
not a lot of bad
probably
moms out there.
leading, in terms of like what's going on with holiday movies, because it's always kids being like, oh no,
My
like,
dad works too much.
Yeah, my dad works too much. My family doesn't like me. Like, blah, blah, blah.
Your family doesn't like you? Whose family didn't like Home Alone, right. Yeah, they were so mean to him. That's crazy.
So this is classic bad dad in the role of Arnold Schwarzenegger plays as, a guy who works too much to the point that he forgot to get his son this special toy, for Christmas. So we'll explore that as we always do. Always an interesting psychological concept. Who is in this movie? Sweetie.
Arnold.
Arnold.
Our favorite.
I just love him in a good comedy. I really just.
He's really in his element.
Yeah.
And when they give him like a fighting scene, you're like, great. Like, I appreciated how they squeezed that in.
Yeah.
They made it work. He's great, but he's really like, man, wow. He's got great comedic timing. I'll give him that. He's great.
Say, when I was watching this, I was like, wow, he's like really moved up in the ranks in terms of his acting skills. I mean, I was just thinking about,
Where is he now?
This guy came here like barely able to speak English, Conan the Barbarian, like, and I think has like honestly worked his ass off to like actually be halfway decent at acting. Yeah. And gold medal for you. I know you're a cheating bastard, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and maybe you weren't the best governor of California, but hey,
But you gave it a shot and you tried.
yeah, really appreciate him. Rita Wilson as mom, the mom.
Mom, Liz.
Liz, mom. She's great in this. Has to put up with the raper next door.
Speaking of,
A.K.A. Phil Hartman, who is great in this, even though he's a creeper.
not a raper in real
son.
life, but
Yeah.
definitely in this
As
movie.
Ted.
As Ted, the next door neighbor. Jake Lloyd, who played Anakin Skywalker in the Star Wars prequels, Episode 1. Phantom Menace. Nothing else really. I thought he was in other things, but I think I was confusing him in my head with the kid from Liar Liar, who's in Home Alone 3.
Yeah, the kids in Big Daddy. Those that's why I said I thought he was one of the twins.
Yeah, you kept saying twin. I was like, he's not a twin.
Yeah, I thought
he's
he was
a single.
Right. So it's like it's just funny that those child actors basically look like the same kind of kid. But like that's how little boys look. Because when I was looking at Jake Lloyd, I was like, wow, he looks like the son of like half my friends. It's just like that little boy look of like 5 years old, let's say. So this was 96, so that means in Star Wars he was like 3 years older.
Yeah.
So
They're like, wow, we hired him based on his performance alone in Jingle All The Way.
yeah, which I mean wasn't terrible, but
I
as
think
Sweetie said, it's like it's
terrible.
It's not
He's
great.
just very like cringe-inducing.
cute, yeah.
He's the child actor that is we've talked about this before. When the child gets aware of things like being self-conscious or like their own, I don't know, like when they understand that they're actually acting is when they start not doing a great job usually. And I don't know like what his earlier films were, if he was like better maybe when he was much younger, like a lot of child actors
I think his first role he was in like a couple episodes of ER.
Okay,
That was his
so
first
maybe we
one.
could go back and check those out. But he's pretty terrible in this, and for me, it's his facial acting is just too on the nose. It's like now I'm gonna roll my eyes and scowl. Now I'm gonna cross my arms and stomp off out of the room because I'm mad. and it's like, ugh, God, take an acting class. No. But anyways, that's him. And lastly, Sinbad. Wow. I mean, he had a pretty great career in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
Did he have a show?
He had a show.
Did he have like a talk show
so he's
or
like
like
a stand-up comedian, and then he had his own show. Pretty sure,
like a scripted,
sitcom. I'm pretty sure,
but not like a talk show ever.
I don't think so.
Maybe I'm mixed. Yeah,
was he a host of a game show? Maybe too.
Something. I feel like there's something else.
But yeah, he got going. He recently had a stroke. I don't know if you heard that. That was like pretty sad. He seemed
I didn't hear
like,
that.
Yeah, like slightly incapacitated. I think he's not dead or anything, but like he had like kind of a debilitating stroke. He's the villain in this, which kind of was off-putting because I feel like pleasant guy, that Sinbad. Oh, I always like to see him in a film. Makes me feel good. But he is like good. Sometimes he like seems to be the buddy of this guy. They're kind of competing to get this special toy, but then he's kind of evil too. He's so evil. He's like a terrible person. I know.
He should be in prison for a very long time.
My conclusion. He really might be. But good to see him as always. Also, a couple little cameos. Jim Belushi as Black Market Santa. He was good. And Chris Parnell from SNL fame is his first movie role. Very small, 10-second part, but hey, he was funny.
Get it?
He was funny. Yeah. So I didn't recognize the director of this, but Chris Columbus, director of Home Alone and Adventures in Babysitting and Harry Potter movie, I believe.
Richard Donner. Why did you say Richard Donner?
I just brought that up randomly. But Chris Columbus rewrote this script. So the guy...
He rewrote it.
Yeah. Oh. Like the guy came in with this script and it was like a real life account of this with some other toy. I forget which one he said. And Tickle Me Elmo, maybe. So he went through a similar thing with Tickle Me Elmo, and then wrote this script, and then Chris Columbus was like related to it too because he had like been through it with the fucking Cabbage Patch Kids. Every parent every decade has gone through this, and so he had some experience too, and then rewrote I guess. So that was the final one that he kind of doctored. So that's cool. Chris Columbus, love that guy. Unfortunate name, but hey.
Yep. What are you gonna do?
So cool. He had his hand in it.
He could change it though. He could change it.
Yeah. And yeah, so I think, like I said, pretty big holiday movie for them.
He's Chris Columbus, not Christopher.
Okay. Cristobal Colombo.
Anyways.
Yeah, so big movie at the time. Glad we finally watched it. Glad I can finally say I've seen Jingle All the Way.
Nice.
And I know now what I feel like the poster maybe was the thing with him and the reindeer. And I was always so confused being like, oh, there's like a reindeer in it, and thinking that was like more attached to the plot. I will say that like my favorite Christmas movies are I think slightly more fantasy ones related to Santa and slightly more magical.
Where you're like, he's real.
Yeah. I don't necessarily need ones that are like the consumerism of the holidays or like family bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm like a little bit more into the magical side. Yeah. So I would say this is not normally my subgenre of holiday films that I like to watch, but
Christmas
it's cute.
Chaos, let's call it.
Christmas chaos, exactly. Like I don't like to think Christmas is like the bad stuff because this movie is really highlighting sort of the negative things about the holidays in some ways. And I don't want to think about that.
You like that song though? That's like the 12 annoying things at Christmas. That's one of the sweetest.
I don't even know half these people. I love the gay guy. It's my favorite. Sending Christmas cards.
There's one really good one, but I don't remember. Okay. Anyways, so let's talk about it.
It's time for the sweetie synopsis. Yeah.
Sweeties.
I'm not a pervert. I'm just looking for a tempo hand. I can't do Arnold. I have to really think about it. I can't just do it.
Pervert's a hard one to do in the...
I'm not a pervert.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, no, it works. It just feels like you're saying it with a disability.
It's terrible. Put that cookie down now.
Who said that?
Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's talking.
That wasn't an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. Okay, or she's all over the map.
Or she's next door petting Ted.
Oh, I love that. Howard Langston is a mattress super salesman, I guess. Is he the head of the mattresses? No, he's just a salesman who does a really good
he
job.
was a mattress salesman. I
Whole
missed
beginning.
that. No, I missed when he's having the phone
party
call.
was in a mattress factory. On his screen, it's like mattress set is all the things he's selling.
Focus on that.
He's the king of the mattresses.
I know you said it, but I was like missing the key.
Jeez Louise.
Sorry.
But he's a super salesman, and he's very devoted to that, and he's very salesman-like. Turns out it's the day before Christmas Eve, and his son has a karate tournament or match, or actually, I think it's just a class where he gets a belt, which is like kind of bullshit. Like have a
Yellow
special
to
event.
Purple.
Ooh, I mean, I'm just gonna say it. He sucked. What's his name in this? Josh? No. Fuck. All I'm thinking is Jake. I'm like, Jake? When he says the name, Jamie. So I mean, Jamie kind of sucked at karate. I'll be honest. I didn't see a lot of potential there. But anyways, Liz, the wife, calls Howard, and she's like, "Don't miss his. You never see his things. He's very upset. You have to make an effort. Bad dad city." So he's like, "I'm gonna make it." But for some reason, he's like dicking around still. I forget why.
Well, he's making all these calls.
He's making all these
to
sales.
customers.
Like,
or like
stop.
schmoozing with good
Who's
customers.
buying mattresses on the 23rd of December?
I don't
Like,
know.
come on.
Is that a good
Who
Christmas
knew?
gift?
No, terrible. So,
Wouldn't mind one myself as
so
an adult.
she's rushing off to this karate tournament. There's traffic because that Minnesota traffic. That Minneapolis. Maybe there is. Maybe because everyone's going into the Mall of America. I don't know. But he decides to take a shortcut, drive in the breakdown lane. Unfortunately, passes a cop on a motorcycle. He gets nailed, stuck in traffic again forever, misses completely the entire karate tournament. So Liz is pissed, Jamie's upset. There's this whole thing like, you never really have to do better, okay? And then she's like, you got the doll, right? I don't know, it's like annoying to me that they call the Turbo Man a doll, which shouldn't annoy me, but it's like, I'm surprised that boys allowed that. Like, little boys were like, yeah, the doll, Like, I just feel like boys would be like, it's not a doll. It's an action figure. But whatever.
Basically a doll.
It is a doll, but
It's like Buzz Lightyear.
It's confusing.
It's like a Buzz Lightyear doll, essentially, right?
Yeah. I just feel like boys are stupid and would be like, ugh.
Fun.
Yeah. I mean, I like
Press a button and
playing
it
with
makes
Barbies
noises.
were fun.
Yeah, but you can like brush their hair and change their clothes.
Yeah. But like a
that's
doll that, I know what you mean.
Where
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, look at me. I have
Pretty
fun."
stupid. Anyways, Jamie and every other kid in the world is obsessed with Turbo Man, who's like the superhero who has this like scary sidekick with a snaggled tooth named Booster, and the Booster wears a gold Speedo, which is like super weird. But it's the big craze. Like, there's a movie that came out. The Turbo Man doll is the hot toy of the season. Can't get him anywhere. Who was supposed to buy one 2 weeks ago for his son, Jamie, sweetie? Howard.
I was going to be like, Dad.
But honestly, 2 weeks does not seem like enough time. Like, I would be like, buy that shit like months in advance.
Well, it's funny watching this now as we're so used to the online shopping world where it's like, oh, you need that? Like, you ordered online.
Right.
Like, it seems
I know.
that you have to actually, you could not get this
Well, it's
without
like-
going to a store.
I know.
Like, and how many stores were there? 3? Maybe 4 in your area. If you went to a small town, like, what would you do? So yeah, this seems like a moot point now, and this probably will never happen again, possibly, this like toy craze thing, because it's just, there's just so, like, if you can't get it in your store now, like, yeah, you can get one in California or whatever. But it just seems so weird. We're so into the online shopping world.
And just of things being more available. And I don't know. Like, we haven't heard of any toys, like, or maybe because we don't have kids, we're like out of that loop. The closest thing I said was, I remember like Nintendo Switches being out of stock during like the pandemic, but that's because adults were bored and wanted a Nintendo Switch.
I'm sure it can be close to it, and it's just a matter of like those companies like making more of them faster, kind of a thing, and not like, okay, the stores in my whatever mile radius doesn't have them anymore.
Right. Yeah. And we have these like larger distributors, and like before there were like all these private owned toy stores. Now we have like Walmarts and Targets and all these other shops and Amazon that just kind of fill the shelves. So maybe it's not an issue. We'll find out, I guess, someday. But so he did not buy the doll. So he's like, fuck. Oh, we were supposed to go back and watch this part because we don't remember if Liz knows he didn't get the doll or if I think he told her he did get the call.
Yeah, didn't he lie to her?
Yeah, I think he lied to her. But then what was he say he was doing on Christmas Eve instead of hanging out with them?
Oh, I don't know.
So that's the part I forget. Yeah. So he makes up some excuse and spends his entire Christmas Eve trying to track down a Turbo Man doll. Like, naively, he thinks he can just go into a toy store and get one. So that doesn't go so well because there are no Turbo Mans left. In the toy store, people laugh at him when he says he's looking for one. He meets at this time an unhinged mailman named Myron, played by Sinbad, who's also looking for a Turbo Man doll. So they kind of are like, oh yeah, this sucks. Okay, yeah. But then it quickly escalates to like a nemesis kind of relationship because Sinbad in this is very violent. Like, he's always just like pushing people and like shoving them and like pushing over mailboxes and like newspaper things. And I'm like, what are you doing?
I don't know if they were trying to go for the disgruntled like mailman.
Oh, they definitely were.
Postal thing. Is that why he was a mailman?
Yes.
Yeah. He just seems. I'll use the word unhinged.
That's what I said.
Okay. Sorry. He's
That is my word.
just he's ranting about shit all the time. You're right. He's like extra physical.
He's a loose cannon.
He just seems to have a bone to pick with like everybody and everything.
Yeah.
So not quite in the Christmas spirit, let's say, but maybe it's hard to be when you're a mailman delivering all that shit. But he has a son, so he needs to get the toy too. So
Yeah.
they're in the same boat, but
Yep.
instead of working together, they work, against each other.
Yeah, and it seems like Howard's the one that's like, I don't want to work with you, and I'm not 100% sure. I think he hates him immediately, or he's doesn't want a situation, because if you pair up and then you get to a situation where there's only one Turbo Man, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So maybe he was thinking ahead. I don't know, but he kind of cuts the cord. And then the rest of the movie is essentially Howard and Myron like chasing each other to different like Turbo Man hot tips of like where a Turbo Man is available. They go to like this like black market like sketchy factory with all these Santas, and he sort of gets one, but it's a total knockoff, like rip off. So he starts like a fight with all the Santas, and it's this great fight scene. There's a radio station contest is another one, and they like go, and Myron gets all like wacky and pulls out what he thinks is like a bomb in his mail bag. He's crazy. Like he should have been locked up like right away. Like, why didn't they lock him up? How did they get away after that? Because the radio guy called the cops, and then I don't know, all these things happen. Who knows? They go to the Mall of America, and there's a toy store giving out rubber balls with numbers on them, which sounded so fun, and I really wanted to see because there's this whole thing where he's like trying to chase down this like rubber ball.
It's such a clever
And you
bit
don't
of
even know.
writing. Like, first you're like, okay, cool toy store. That's a really good way to sell the remainder of the toys, right? Because there's only a finite amount left. They have this bucket of balls. They're all numbered. Everyone gets in line. But of course the people are monsters, and it causes this, again, mass Christmas chaos, and the balls go flying. But great piece of writing, because then that ball is one of those hard bouncy balls, which you used to get in like the machines outside grocery stores.
Yeah.
Love those. Like, as children, we could not pass those machines and not be like, I need one of those balls.
Still today.
Even though, like, where did those balls go? Like, we didn't have like a collection of them. You would lose them so much fast because like, they bounce really, I guess,
and rolled, and
they're
like,
small.
They rolled under, dusty.
So
They
he
got
loses the
dusty.
ball, and it's just, like I said, like chaos to get it, and it bounces down like into the stairs of the mall, and it's just this great, like, kind of cool scene where he's trying to find the ball, and then this little girl gets it, and then he tries to get it away from her, and then everyone thinks he's like a pedophile trying to like coax her out of there. Anyway,
Fair.
great bit of writing on that. I just think that's so clever that someone's like, okay, like bouncy ball, like how can we turn this into physical comedy?
Very
cool. Good job, Chris
But
Columbus.
doesn't get the Turbo Man again. And then, okay, so how does he get to the parade?
Well, wait. So then he makes it home. Like his car.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Vandals.
parked at a bad side street in St. Paul, Minnesota. Because his car, all the wheels are taken off, and someone has written "Merry Christmas" in graffiti, MERI Xmas, on his window with like pink spray paint. Like, whoa, rough neighborhood. So he gets his car like towed back, and then he gets home, and he had called home previously and like the creepy next door neighbor Ted is trying to move in on his wife. He's a single dad, and he sees Howard being like bad dad.
Yeah.
So he's trying to like move in on Liz, his wife. So he's like always there. He's helping making Christmas cookies. So when he arrives home after a pretty shitty day, he sees Ted putting the Christmas star on top of his,
which is
freaking
his job.
tree.
It's Howard's job to do that every year.
So that was his
He's
last
pissed.
straw. So basically that broke him, I'd say. And he suddenly gets this idea. He hears Ted's voice in his head. Oh, I bought that doll weeks ago. It's sitting safe and sound under my Christmas tree. So he's like, I'm going to steal that freaking thing. Hates
Pretty good
Ted
idea.
anyway.
I probably would have done that too because
Yeah.
Ted sucks.
Right. Ted's terrible. So
And to be, the kid sucks too.
Yeah,
he
the
doesn't
kid
need it.
sucks too.
Look at all those presents he had. He doesn't
need
need
it.
that.
Yeah. So he gets into the house, uses the old credit card and the lock trick. Does that work? Yeah, we should try that out. We should do a
don't get it.
Mythbuster on that.
What kind of lock does it have to
I
be?
know. So he gets in and is able to find the box. Pretty easy to find. You shake it and it makes noises of the Turbo Man.
And it was wrapped in Turbo Man
Of-
wrapping
right,
paper.
right. And
Big tell.
Right. So he is going to escape out the front door, but then these carolers come and he sees like Ted and Liz watching outside. So he has to go out the back door and he runs into Ted's reindeer. So Ted is like way too in the Christmas spirit. And he owns a reindeer or rented one. I'm not sure.
I think he bought one or rented one or something.
Dresses it up like, Santa Claus's reindeer, and he's like in the backyard, but and the reindeer's named Ted. The son named it after the dad.
I named it after my dad because he's awesome like my dad.
So then the reindeer gets like very aggressive, almost guard dog style, and tries to run down Howard in the house. Pretty scary scene. Didn't know that they were that.
Are they? Who's to say?
Well,
Didn't
when
seem
they
like a
fight
real
for like
reindeer.
female companions, I think they like butt heads, like moose and deer. So yeah, so that goes horribly wrong to the point the house is trashed. The three wise men like crash display that Ted has in the house? ? It's like
Yeah, why was that in the house?
life-size
It's like
things.
giant.
The like Arab man holding like the myrrh.
Balthazar.
head gets knocked off and rolls into the fireplace and catches on fire. So then like Howard's brilliant idea is like, don't take anything out of the fire unless you know how to put it out. Like he takes it out of the fire and it immediately catches the rug on fire. Like, hello.
Right.
Like get some water, like get a blanket ready.
How fires work, yeah.
So then he like takes the stockings off
Okay.
and is
Not
trying
a-
to like
no.
pat the fire out. There's like toys flying all over the place. I mean,
Tell you what you do.
I feel
Take
bad
the,
at this
the
point.
body of the wise men, which is a bigger volume, surface area. Pat that shit out with that. It would have been out in a second. I bet you. Howard. Yeah. But it's pretty funny though.
Then he kicks the head out the window.
And there's a group of carolers outside, and the head comes flying through the glass on fire. And yeah, Ted sees it, and then Liz go in, and they see him with the Turbo Man doll, and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, it's not what it looks like. But like, it is, because you did. So he had second thoughts and was like, just what am I doing? Tries to put it back. And that's when the reindeer, like, he encountered the reindeer. Right. So what was his excuse going to be like? It's not what you think. I was gonna steal it, but then I had a second and I put it back. Like, still shitty. Yeah. So, marriage troubles ensue. Liz is very upset. Jamie's continued to be upset with him because he's never around and, it sucks. And so then
So then Liz is like, I'm leaving to go to the parade.
Oh, yeah.
Ted, can I
Ted,
ride with
drive
you?
us. Yeah. But how does he get to the parade?
Um,
Because they don't have the car.
yeah.
Because they didn't have a car.
No, they have two cars, but she goes with Ted, so he takes like his car.
Oh, they
Yeah.
do have two cars. Okay. I
Yeah,
was like,
but-
why do they have one car?
Yeah.
Okay, now I get it. All right. So he shows up at this parade, is like trying to find the kids and Liz to like explain himself. For some reason, walks into like an old, like a warehouse kind of a building. I don't know why he goes in that building. I missed that part.
I think he was running from the cop that had found him.
Oh, so yeah, throughout the movie, he keeps running into this cop, and he keeps like making unfortunate things happen. Like he got pulled over in the beginning, and then he like knocks over that cop's motorcycle, spills a hot coffee on him. Sinbad blows him up with a bomb. It's like just like worse and worse. So yeah, he was running from that guy, hides in this like kind of building to hide from the cops, and this guy comes up to him and is like, "Hey, are you the guy?" And then just like doesn't even wait for him to be like, "What are you talking about?" or like, "Can I see your credentials?" Just like grabs him and like starts suiting him up, and they're like telling him all these things. Like,
I
okay,
find it hard
man,
to believe that a man of Arnold Schwarzenegger's stature could not fend off people on like pulling off his clothes and putting on like a rubber
or
him on a rubber
that suit fit him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But, okay. So, I mean, like, maybe they assumed he was the guy because he was super muscly, and they were like, oh, must be the guy, right? So I guess that makes sense. But, yeah, he doesn't fight them off. He's just like, what? What is happening? Why are you touching my pants? And they're explaining all these things. He's like, the jetpack. He's like, what's happening? So we kind of get what's happening, but not really. So, turns out he is now Turbo Man in the big parade. So Turbo Man gets a real jetpack to use in this, and I'm just shocked that like they would have somebody fill in day of and be like, okay, now you're gonna put on this jetpack that you've never used before, and there's gonna be this whole like set piece where like the bad guy comes on the float and you have to like fight him. Like
they
didn't
drag
rehearse
him
this.
in, the guy's like, you got the instruction manual, right? So there was like some material and like stuff
Yeah,
to
but I
read
feel like
about
you need to, like,
how to do this.
test it out.
He was just like the understudy, but there was like a whole rehearsal and everything. I don't
And
know.
then, like the booster guy is pissed at him. I'm like, dude, he just got this today. He doesn't know. Like, he's being really rude. But anyway, he's having a great time being Turbo Man. All these people are waving at him.
he's like, this is great.
Yeah.
I could get used to this.
I love this.
Fuck mattress sales.
I love it. Meanwhile, evil Sinbad has knocked out the guy who was playing whatever the enemy of Turbo Man is, Dementor.
Like floating brain. Black brain.
Yeah. And so Sinbad dons that costume, which is like, oh, it's just like their relationship this whole movie where Howard's the hero and he's the villain. So Jamie and his little friends see Turbo Man, are super excited, and apparently the whole thing of this is that he's gonna pick a random kid out of the crowd who gets this like super special edition Turbo Man doll, which looks to me like the Turbo Man doll except bigger, which seems more stupid
Because you can't play with that. I would not
What is
want
this
that.
giant
That's like
doll?
one you like put on a shelf and just stays there, and you're like, cool, look at my Turbo Man.
It was very bizarre. But anyway, Howard's like, oh, great, excellent. So he like happens to just, see, oh, I'm right in front of Jamie. Perfect. And he points at him and he's like, you.
And then goes, Jamie.
And then goes, Jamie. And Jamie's like, he knows my name. So then he goes up there. He's all excited. And then Howard's about to tell him that like he's his dad. Which, by the way, Sweet and I were just like laughing because so I hate, like, my biggest pet peeve is when people don't know that somebody is someone just because they're wearing a mask, which, like, in most cases you can kind of, argue away. Okay, Batman's mask is like a thick black mask. Sure, maybe I couldn't recognize someone if they had
Clark
that on
Superman
there.
thing. There's no way.
There's no way you wouldn't know.
It's a suspend reality in these movies where the people
This
don't.
one, he has like a clear visor on.
If he had a full helmet,
And-
like half helmet,
Right.
like you said, Batman,
And
but it was
like,
red.
It's like, wow, Turbo Man, you're so cool. Wow, you have an Austrian accent just like my dad. That's
weird.
so weird. Where is he? Wow.
And you're led to believe that he is some voice alterer, but it doesn't alter his voice at all.
I don't know. Yeah, or maybe they're hearing something else. I don't know. But like, okay, my dad is super built. He's a bodybuilder, but works at a mattress store and has an Austrian accent, and so does this guy. Hello, put it together, Jamie. But even Liz at the end's like, wow, Turbo Man. Like, you don't know your own husband? God. But anyways, so at that moment, Dementor like jumps onto the float and there's this whole ruckus. But of course, it's really Sinbad's character, so he is like actually going after Jamie to get the doll.
Right.
And then Howard saves the day with this fucking crazy jetpack that like shoots him up into the heavens, and then he falls to Earth without.
But then he learns how to use it.
And the others that he use it, saves the day. Everything's great. Sinbad gets taken away, finally in cuffs, hopefully for a very long time because he's very unstable. And Jamie is so excited, and then he reveals himself to Jamie and Liz as like, I'm your dad. And Jamie's so excited. He's so excited that he gives the coveted special edition Turbo Man doll to the fugitive Myron. Who Ooh, Sweetie made a good point. What's he going to do with that when he's going to jail? Like, here, cops, hold on to this for me.
Yeah,
Thanks.
his kid's not getting that. All I want for Christmas is my dad out of jail.
Yikes. And yeah, Jamie's like, I have the real one at home. I don't need one. And like, oh. And so happy family. Everything's forgiven. Liz is like, my sex life is so much better now because I remembered that you have muscles. It's like she like sees him in the thing and she's like, Howard, you didn't know your husband was like a massive bodybuilder with like a huge chest, like whatever. But yeah, that's the movie. And Ted sucks, and he ends up like really coming on to Liz like very creepily, like assault-y in the car, and she hits him with the eggnog. So breaks his glasses. See you later, loser. He was really rapey. It was scary. I didn't like it. But yeah, that's the flock. But yeah, this movie was on a lot. I think when I was probably in middle school. I think they played a lot on like HBO. So it was like whatever year we had HBO or Cinemax or whatever. I feel like this would play all the time, and I'd watch it. And I think I thought it was pretty stupid, but I kept watching it every time it was on. So I don't know. I secretly liked it. I don't know what that says about me, but
yeah, I mean, there's good Christmas energy in it. The parade at the end is awesome. I mean, I know there's no parades now. I don't know if anyone saw the Macy's Thanksgiving one that they tried to do. It was like they like moved the floats like one block and then like filmed it. It was still nice to see the floats, I will say. But this is a banging Christmas parade. Okay, first of all, it is like just sparkly red, white. A man dressed in a snowman suit in a snow globe. These weird ice princesses. You have every toy you can imagine as like a walking person in the parade. And it felt almost like, when we do Halloween movies or there's a costume dance and we're always looking out for the costumes.
Yeah.
This was like, whoa, name all the toys or like fictional characters that are in this parade.
Yeah, they're just
so
really
fun.
well done. It was well done.
Yeah.
Good costumes.
And there's like their house is decorated so well. Both like there's Howard and Liz and Ted's too. And just in general, like the Christmas vibe, I think is like really good.
It's Minnesota, so everything's covered in snow, and you're oh, that's so nice.
And they have a great Christmas soundtrack on this too. I'd say so. Like the really good Christmas hits, the ones that you do not get sick of,
which
are
ones?
kind
I
of
don't remember
populate.
there being songs in this.
Yeah, I just remember being like, oh yeah, I love this one. Ooh,
Which
I love
one?
this one too.
Which one was it?
Everyone.
What?
They had that Nat King Cole one. They had like a Frank Sinatra one. They had like just really good renditions of the classic standards, so it definitely like puts you into that groove. And then, all about toys. So depending on where you at in your life, if you're a little kid and Christmas is all about toys for you. Or maybe you're an adult and you're like, damn these toys because making me bankrupt and I have to find them.
So the toys, I wrote down some toys that were big popularity winners when we were little or maybe before. So the big one when I was little was Power Rangers were like a huge thing.
And this is a very adjacent to Power Rangers.
And they're essentially just kind of
the show, especially.
but I mean, it wasn't just like one hero. There were like 5 Power Rangers, but whatever. But they had like putty like villains.
A question for you, as someone who lived through that Power Ranger craze and was very much a part of it. I think we've told the story before when Sweetie missed, Power Rangers was on at 3 p.m. or whatever, and we were out doing errands, and we're like, oh no,
we got stuck in traffic.
So
it was very Jingle
sorry,
All The Way.
Andre, we're not going to be able to make it back for Power Rangers. And she burst into tears, would not stop crying. Like this was going to be the last time she'd ever see the show.
I get my hopes up and I get upset.
Oh my God. I like remember that so vividly. So funny.
I mean, it was though, because we couldn't record things back then.
Yeah. But it's not like it wouldn't be on tomorrow.
Pretty sure it was. I think it was
once a week.
Yeah, but like not that episode. Like maybe I missed that episode or something. I don't know.
So it was a little more dire, like DVR style. But so as someone who lived through that craze, why do you think kids loved Power Rangers so much?
I mean, it's just the superhero element of it. I think this one, whenever you have one, especially where there's like 5 different kinds of people, I think it
that's what I was going to say.
Applies. Everyone identifies as someone. And you got the 2 girls, so that even the girls could get in on it for once.
And that show, I think, did a good job as like we always say sometimes 90s we feel like did pretty well in terms of diversity. So you had like different ones, like there was an Asian American, right? Like a Hispanic or Latino was Jason.
Debatable.
Yeah, a black guy, 2 women, one a woman of color.
Right. There was a couple
the
different
main
ones.
white.
Jason.
Jason was the main white guy.
He started as the Green Ranger, and then he became the White Ranger.
Okay.
I forget the reasons. I hated him because he had a ponytail, and you know how I have a thing about men with ponytails. Yeah. But he was just a regular white guy who was into karate,
and it felt very much like also that you could, depending on who you identified with, that was like. Okay, you could pick out of a crowd like which girls identify with Kimberly, let's say, and then those girls who were those.
What kind of girls were?
Well, just like I want to be pretty pink. And I want to be pink and popular, like just like normal, classic, like white suburban, right? And then you had the girls who were like, that's not totally me. You'd be for Trini, right?
Trini rules.
Yeah. So you could, because when there's only 2 girls, like it's so easy to do that. Yeah. It's like, oh, the like pretty popular girls and the other. So yeah, funny, but good show.
But I think like anytime you have like a fighting situation, especially when girls get involved, it just creates like a perfect storm of like things that kids fucking eat up with a spoon.
Yeah. Whoever invented that or came from Japan or Korea?
I think so. I think Japan. But yeah, so Power Rangers were huge. I didn't really have Power Ranger toys except for these 2 Barbie dolls I got on my birthday, but those weren't in like high demand. So I think Power Rangers is a little different because I wasn't super, but maybe just because I don't remember those toys being in high demand.
I don't either.
Maybe because there's so many of them. It wasn't like, you only want one, right? Yeah. So maybe that's why. The other ones when we were little were Tamagotchis, which were these like little virtual pets that were like these little eggs, and it was just like 3 buttons on it. You could like feed it. It would poop. You cleaned out the poop, and then you would play with it. It was like the only stuff. And then eventually it would die in like 20 days if you took care of it. It's like max lifespan was like 20 days. Yeah. I don't know what it was about this that we were obsessed with, but like we had to have one. My friend Kim Kaplowitz had one, as I'm sure we talk about her all the time. So I was obviously very jealous, and I was like, I need one. They made like a knockoff kind of American version called a Gigapet, which Sweetie and I both got. We both got the same one, which was like a monkey. And honestly, I think that one was better than the Tamagotchi because, first of all, what was the Tamagotchi? Right. Was it an alien? I don't know. This was like cute, and the baby monkey, and then it would get older, and then you would play with it, and like it was a little keychain, so you could like keep it on you at all times. Gotta feed my Tamagotchi. It was so weird.
Well, it was just kind of like a virtual pet. Like, and it was just yours, right? Like you might have had house pets and stuff, and that you're like, wow, that's real.
I think that was the appeal for sure.
It was like your own thing, and like you had to keep it alive. I don't remember loving it much after like a couple weeks, though. Like,
of course, you're a fair weather. That's with you and everything.
Well, but that's the thing with toys
puzzles.
In a lot of ways.
Puzzles.
Right, like
one day.
I really was not a toy person. Like I liked my American Girl dolls. Was kind of like my thing. I could play with
history books.
Yeah, like I wasn't into technology or like toys and stuff like that.
I was into toys, I'll tell you. Yeah. But yeah, that was the other huge one. And then also, this one was actually a resurgence of an earlier trend in the 80s, but Cabbage Patch dolls were huge in the 80s. Cabbage Patch Kids. Really? They're not called Cabbage Patch dolls?
No, Cabbage Patch, they're kids. So huge 80s trend, right? So we were in the tail end of this. So I was born in 83. So I think that's kind of like when the rage was. But as a 3-year-old, like I got a Cabbage Patch Kid. So Liz and I got ones. We got the actual kids. Mine was in like this little tracksuit, gray and with purple striping. She had brown hair. She might have been African American. I'm not sure.
Pretty sure she was.
I love that little thing, and it was like my little buddy. And they had like that yarn hair. Liz's had red hair and a green, like a white and green tracksuit, maybe.
But then you also had the ones with the hair that you pulled out,
right? So then Cabbage Patch kind of kept going on. So that craze, I think, was mainly for the kids in like the mid '80s. But then they came like not as popular, and we got different iterations of them. So all I ever wanted was a preemie, okay? Now this seems creepy that they were like, the babies were called preemies, and it was like this little bald version baby of a Cabbage Patch. All I ever wanted. I never got a preemie, but then I got this one that was a baby, but at this point, they were making them with like plastic.
When was that?
Like
I don't remember
skin.
that. You got a baby
And,
one?
Yeah, and I had this little bottle.
A boy?
And, no, I think it was a
remember
girl.
this.
It had a little curly top of brown hair, and it came with this
Sure, was
whole
it the one I
thing,
got for my birthday?
It came with a little bottle, and you would put the bottle in its mouth, and all the liquid would look like it came out, so you fed the baby.
Yeah.
It was kind of lame. Sweetie got one for her first birthday.
One that you could take in the bathtub.
Yeah. So
very cool.
Also
Had a
like
little
plasticky
bathrobe.
skin. And then I got this one that was blonde and you could make the hair grow. But all that happened was you would yank the hair out of the top and it would grow. And then if you yanked it again, it would go back in.
Oh,
but it was like,
I feel like it got permanently stuck in
think
the
it
out.
did.
So it's just like a really long ratty ponytail.
and it was a rat's nest. Like it was not cool. And,
Didn't we have a
and she had
a
like
red-haired one
mullet.
with
Yeah.
that too?
Yes.
We
And she had
bought
like
two
a
of them.
mullet.
Yeah.
Because it was all curly.
I remember that
and
one
then it
pretty
was,
well.
Because Liz got one
Yeah.
too? Yeah.
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 And then when I was in like 5th or 6th grade, I was way too old to like be wanting things like this. But for some reason, again, another big craze. The Cabbage Patch Kid where it ate things and it had like a little backpack on the back.
Yes.
And then it would deposit the thing it ate in the backpack. And you'd be like, oh, and then you take it out and like feed it again. So those were all the rage until dun, 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 tragedy struck when it was found out that the Cabbage Patch Kids, if your hair got too close to that mouth, it would eat it and pull your hair in, and it would get stuck in there. So it was a huge recall, a huge hubbub. Mom was like, "Do you want us to bring this back?" I was like, "No, I'm not a dummy. I'm not letting my hair get close to the fucking Cabbage Patch Kid. Get out of here."
I mean, Cabbage Patch Kids were cute.
It was pretty funny because you could like, it would go, it would start moving its mouth when you put food into it. So I remember it had like a crinkle cut fry was one of the foods, and you like put it in, it'd be like, and it would eat it, and that would be it. But she was like my daughter, and I was like, "No, you're gonna eat your dinner."
I mean, it seems real. So I mean, I do like the thing with the Cabbage Patch Kids and that whole thing about how they were like, from a Cabbage Patch, and you'd get it had this little birth certificate, like that whole like thing around it was really cute.
Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies. I never really was into those. Too late.
Yes, you did. We had a
I
bunch.
had a couple, but I wasn't like a huge collector, and I didn't keep. Did I keep the tags on them? I don't know.
Pretty sure.
That seemed I was not as into. Along the lines of obsessed with dolls eating things. I mean, you didn't ask for this because I feel like you were too little, but as a little girl, you got Baby Alive, which was like even more so. You would mix up this little powdered food in a little baby dish.
Why did it be powdered?
I don't know, and mix it with water, and then you would feed the baby
I guess
this
it was
like
white
water
colored?
food.
Maybe because it was like milk. It was supposed to be like milk.
No, it was food. It was like
it wasn't in the
vegetables.
bottle?
No, it came with food packets.
Weird.
You would put it in this little baby dish and feed the baby, and then it had a little like vagina, and it would pee, and you have a diaper. I mean, it was like a real baby.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the appeal is. Like, trying to prep us ahead, like, so we're not grossed out by, kids shitting in their diapers. But I don't know. It's a thing.
That one seemed way
That
too
seemed
real.
weird. Yeah. I also got an Easy Bake Oven, which is a huge one.
And
Creepy Crawlers, which was so cool. And I saw that at Target recently, and I almost bought it for Jimmy for something, for his birthday or something. But I was like,
both
Creepy
those
Crawlers
were really fun. Easy Bake Oven, we did
God.
do that a lot. That was a blast. I still cannot believe you could bake things with a light bulb. I mean, I'm shocked. I almost wanted to get
Me
that
too.
for Pippa.
What wattage
and then
is
I was
it?
like, I don't know. Our niece, like, we're trying to think of things to get her for Christmas, and I was like, you know what? I think she'd like really love that. But her dad is like a professional chef, so I feel like he would like take offense if we got her like an Easy Bake Oven. And her mom is like really into baking, so
yeah.
I don't think that'll work. As I said, American Girl dolls, and I think we've talked about a lot of times, we were obsessed with them. I had 3, Sweetie had 2, so like 3 Christmases in a row, I got an American Girl doll. Like, I love those things. I was obsessed. Yeah, we were really lucky. Okay, Furbies was a big trend, if you remember. Never, again, too old for that, and also not interested.
I was like semi-interested, but they were a real hot commodity. You couldn't get one. I didn't get one. they were like alive, and they would like open their eyes and be like,
a Teddy
"Hello,"
Ruxpin?
kind of.
Teddy Ruxpin. I
Ooh,
think,
that's
was
another good one.
too.
Yeah, but yeah, like a Teddy Ruxpin, and they would
Wow.
like say things, and then there was like all this like urban myths of like Furby's coming to life in the middle of the night and saying weird things, and it was like this big,
programmed
like,
weird
news story.
Even, I mean, I'm sure they have this now, but even now, Teddy Ruxpin sounds cool. Like you can put a tape in the back of the bear and it would read you a story. I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
That
that
seems
toy. I get that. Tickle Me Elmo.
Tickle Me Elmo again.
Huge. I remember that one for sure.
old.
I
I
was
do
too
too.
old, but I remember like it was always in the news. They're always fucking talking about it. Oprah's or like Rosie O'Donnell was always giving away like Elmos was like a big show that she had one time.
So the Tickle Me Elmo craze came out like right after this movie, I guess. The next year, or maybe it was even this year.
I thought that the guy wrote it about Tickle Me Elmo.
Yeah, maybe it was. Wait a minute. Okay. Maybe Tickle Me Elmo was before this. I don't know. Maybe I had my facts mixed up. But yeah, very, very similar case, right? And then I also have Trolls on here. So Trolls are a big deal for us. I don't know if they were a craze, but
like the stuff with that I feel like is good, and same in the way of like Cabbage Patch Kids, where there's all these different variations, right? So it's not so much important like which one you get, you just want one.
want one.
Where like this, it's like you have to have
it makes
the
it a lot
Turbo
easier.
Man doll.
Yeah, right. And that's
And
where
that's
like
more like Tickle Me Elmo.
exactly.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
one, and like no one wanted to Tickle Me Bert, you know.
Did they have that?
No, but like, but
I don't
say
wanna
it-
tickle him.
because a big thing in this movie is that they have all these door displays, and this Turbo Man comes with like the little sidekick booster, and then he has accessories and all this stuff. So that's all available, but it's just the one doll that keeps selling out, and that's the shelves are
Make
empty.
more of those fucking dolls,
I know.
guys. Like, what
Crazy.
are you doing?
And then I also, and I don't know if this was like a trend, but quints.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I don't
or
know
did
if
mom
anyone
and
else
dad
had
just
those.
gave those, like found those and gave those to
I don't
us, and
know.
we're like,
Yeah,
cool.
it's a good question.
It was these 5 little babies. I had a brunette set, and Andre had a blonde ones, and they had little diapers that said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get 2 boys and 3 girls, and they came with like these little. They came with just this little carrying case, which was basically like 5 little slots in this little string that like held them up. But you could get beds, you could get high chairs, and they'd just be like 5 high chairs, like all connected. So cute. I love those. I don't know. I thought I just got the biggest kick out of those.
Yeah.
And now I'm remembering like the names of mine, and I was like so
Names?
narcissistic because I named them like all the girls' variations of like Emily. One was Emma, one was Emily, and
my
then
God.
I forget what the other one was. I don't remember where I made the boys, but
Yeah, I mean, maybe they had. Oh man, there were so many cool ones that we didn't get. There's like a whole bed situation.
I mean, it was
there
really
was
cute.
these horses, strollers. We didn't get those. The little
Quints.
bottles.
There's
I remember
5 times
that.
more fun.
Oh my god, that was so fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
here's the whole set of like everything.
Oh.
Wow, a playground with swings and stuff. Cool.
Yeah, those were great. Oh, Pet Shop.
Littlest Pet
Shops.
Shops.
Okay, huge
But
for
again,
me.
yeah, but variations. You just collect. It was to collect it.
Yes.
So the collection things were better, I think, but still very popular for sure.
But yeah,
Ugh,
it's
toys
just,
are great.
Toys are great. So fun. And you like, as I said, we've been trying to figure out what we want to get our niece as sort of the only child in the family. We have a little nephew now, but he's like too little to be into toys, but she's in prime toy age, right? So we're like, what would she like? And it's just,
I mean, she would like a million things.
she'd like a million things, but just seeing her reaction to toys, like, has been bringing us back, but also, and even making this, oh my God, I love them. Looking at the Quince photo, just making this list has made me be like, dang it. Like our childhood and, childhood, maybe not for all kids, but is really fun in the toy like era of it.
Yeah.
Because every year there is a new toy, and you might, be sick
Right.
of the next one, but that's just how kids are.
how toys
like,
work.
You almost never like anything for
a
like
long time.
many,
Yeah.
many years. And then you're going to get to a point where you don't do toys at all.
Right.
And you're getting
And
like
you get
pillows
makeup for
and
Christmas,
clothes
and then you
for
cry in
Christmas.
your room.
Yes.
That's what happened to
I
me.
know. And that transition is hard because you're like, okay, I used to have Christmas Day where I'd wake up, open all these toys and play with them all day. It was so exciting, right?
Yeah.
And then when you transition to like the adult stuff, you're like, oh, I can't wait to put my earrings into the earring tree. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, it sucks.
It does. I mean, it's fun.
We
and
would
it's
get like
its
big
own way.
things to play with, like iPods and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But like, yeah, it sucked. It was dark. It was a dark time when
Yeah.
you get too old
And
for
then
toys.
you're just used to it. But there is, that weird year, I'd say, when you're like 12, maybe. 12 is like the kind of year you transition to like getting real stuff.
I feel like I was pretty late. Like I would get like some, not toys, but like board games or like something like that.
And I feel like you don't give
milked
your
that
parents
for a while.
also like don't know as well what to give you, and they're kind of.
There was one day when year where I just like picked things out of the JCPenney catalog.
wow.
I was like, buy me this, but it was like Candyland, and it was like dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing, no big like toys or anything like that. But I did get the Candyland. It was like a special edition. I was like, yes, and then I played it. I was like, this game's for babies. Which it like totally is. It's just like colors. Draw a
really
color and then
easy.
you move. And I didn't have anyone to play with it either, so I was just playing by myself. I loved playing board games by myself. I don't know why.
That'd
I was
be
like
a good board game
so
for
lonely.
Pippa. She'd like that.
I know, but all those cards, Liz would like lose it. Those would get like tossed all over the place. She'd like break them. I don't know. But yeah, man, toys are great. And like toy stores and just like, I know we don't have a lot of toy stores anymore.
Baby toys.
R.I.P. Gaby
Toys R Us.
Um,
the Mecca.
But just like, even just going into Target and like walking down the toy aisles just fills me with such joy. And I'm like, oh, I wish I was in the toys. Although now I'll tell you, all the toys are there's just 5 aisles of Legos. It's like Star Wars Legos, Jurassic Park Legos. It's like all these different aisles of just one kind of Lego. It's insane. Crazy. I've never seen anything like it. Times have changed. Yeah. But anyways, what else? Do we need to talk about anything else before?
No.
Okay, because we had a big divergence and talked about toys for a while, which is fine. Everyone's here for that. Yeah. So they love it. Couple of other like quick 90s things. Payphones. Always love to see a payphone in a movie. What a pain in the butt. Payphones. Oof.
When I walk by one, sometimes there's an occasional booth still like left up that does not work anymore. But you walk through, and if there's a phone in there, and I always, it's kind of pre-COVID, but I always like pick it up and be like, yeah.
My favorite my favorite parlor trick was to look up the number on the phone and then call it and freak people out. And I would like freak them out. Remember I did that actually recently on the T in Davis. I was like, sweetie, watch this. And then I was like... And then I called the payphone while all these people were waiting.
Did they answer?
No, people just like looked at each other like freaked out.
It's
and
like a horror movie
But
now.
people would answer it at our school, like at the charter school where we worked, which was like in a strip mall. So we would call from the school phone like inside and like look out the window and be like, Ronnie's walking by, like call the payphone. And then we'd like ring, and not a lot of people would pick up. But it's a fun game to play. Also phone related, kitchen phones with extra long cords so that you could walk around your kitchen still talking on the phone, which again, get a cordless phone. I mean, I'm sure they were around at this time, right? 90, what'd you say, 96? They had to have been around.
No, definitely.
Get a cordless phone. What is it? Remember? We had like the super long, like the extra long cord that could like, you could be like upstairs and be like, hey, I'm on the phone still. Man, good times. Paper chains, last one. Unfortunately, they decided to decorate the inside of their lovely house with all these ugly paper chains.
They were on the Christmas tree.
And on the
Ruined the Christmas tree.
all over the house.
You know
I saw
what?
them.
I don't have a problem with paper chains, but you don't do multicolored ones.
I have a problem
at
with
Christmas.
paper chains. I have a problem with
Red
paper
and green.
chains.
Red and green
Not-
only.
Yeah, but like not in a school setting. We don't need paper chains.
Right. Like you're better than that. You don't need it.
Liz, Rita Wilson, you were better than paper chains.
It just
Get
felt,
those down.
Just felt off.
I did like making paper chains in school though, and
Easiest craft there is.
right, but they are like fine in school. I just don't think you should decorate your lovely house, your lovely '90s home with paper chains. But yeah, that's my. Oh, and then lastly, which isn't a '90s thing, it's just like a little kid thing, sitting on Santa's lap. So as a child, I was afraid of like most men, I would say, except for my father and my grandfather. Santa did not want to sit on some strange old man's lap and have him talk to me.
When I was very little, I did.
When we were little. I remember he came to our school once, and there was a situation where I fell in the like hay truck or whatever that came to the school, and Robbie Tansey stepped on me, and I got upset and was crying, and then I had to go sit on Santa's lap, who was one of the firemen. So get this. The Santa was fucking Robbie Tansey's dad.
Oh my God.
And he was like, "What's wrong, little girl?" And I was like, "Robbie Tansey stepped on me."
Jesus, I didn't
know that it was his dad. and then I think he like probably got in trouble.
Oh,
But then we
no.
would get like a bag of oranges. Did you ever get this in elementary
no.
school from the fire department? No, it was like oranges and like peanuts, and it was like great, and like a candy cane. But that was my last memory of sitting on Santa's lap.
funny. Yeah,
And I just
I never
hated
did
it. And you're like super close to them. You can like smell them. Like ugh,
like,
beef and cheese.
Who
No
does
thanks.
that job? It seems weird. So but speaking of that, I was like wondering, like kids going to see Santa this year, probably not happening with COVID. Oh, it is.
What?
I saw this girl's post on Facebook where it was like, oh, Juliet, like, we can't miss 1 year, like not sitting on Santa's lap. So you had to make a special appointment for see the Santa at the mall. You are 6 feet apart from him, and you like yell like, Santa, I want this.
Then everyone knows.
And then she took a picture, and she was literally just like sitting on a bench like in front of him, and he was like behind her with a mask on.
Unreal.
Oh my god! I was
Guys,
just like,
it's too much. It's too
Why
much.
don't we just do a phone
Write him
a
a letter.
Santa or
Write him a
something?
letter.
Yeah.
Old fashioned.
Is this the same for you? Because it's not for me.
Probably a Santa
Like,
email now.
yeah.
They can send him an email.
It was just wild. I'm like, wow, like, wait, good for making it work, I guess, in these times. But I would have been like, you know what? This year Santa's in quarantine.
Santa's not real.
Yeah. Or Santa's not real. And then one of Jimmy's friends is struggling with like his son, trying to keep his son believing, and he's 10 years old.
Okay, whoa,
and I'm like,
too old.
Exactly. And I've met this kid, and I'm like, he doesn't seem like someone who would believe in Santa, and I was shocked. I mean, this is like a pretty smart, like with it kid, and he's not figured out about the whole Santa thing. I was like, okay, well, good for him for keeping it alive.
He didn't have an older sibling to
That's
ruin
right.
it for them when they were 5 years old.
His little brother's going to learn a lot earlier. That's for sure.
Yep.
A couple other 90s things, mine mostly related to cars. Suburbans. Woo. So they drive a Suburban, and I don't know, it just reminded me so much of being a kid. And there were most families had minivans, right? But then you had the other families that had Suburbans.
They're so big.
They're
That
huge.
is a boat. It is a literal boat.
With this family, they have one child. Why do
they have that
Suburban?
Because they need a big car for it's like this big guy, big car thing.
Yeah.
It was like before that really they started having marketing like trucks to men. I feel like Suburban because like I've been rewatching The Sopranos and Tony Soprano has a Suburban also. He's like a big guy and like it's like a big guy car.
Right. It's like you need a minivan, but you still want to like maybe have the toughness to it, so you get a Suburban. I don't know,
Something like that.
I don't see those as much, but the kind they had in this movie just like took me back. I was like, that's whatever year that style that was. And then the minivans with the wood paneling on the side. Man, I'll never not get over that. We had minivans. We never had the wood. No, we never had the wood. But I remember some families that did, and I was like, "Oh, you're a wood-paneled minivan."
What's
family.
that about? You
I don't
like
know.
strive for that,
I
or
have no
like
idea.
we only have the wood paneled one?
Why
left.
would you ever get a car with fake
I
wood?
feel
on
like
the
it's
side?
like a deluxe. People are like,
But
get
why
the
would you make
deluxe
that
wood
choice?
paneling.
Even like the Wagoneer. Like, why do you want? Cars are not supposed to be made of wood. They are metal.
It's just a design. It's a design thing. I don't know. Is it even real wood? I think it's just like
No,
plastic
it's
that
metal.
looks like wood.
Yes,
yeah.
it's just like metal wood.
I don't. It was
It's
a trend. I don't
funny.
know. Good times.
Yeah.
Good fucking times. Woo, what a great trip down 90s memory lane. I hope you enjoyed it. Come find us on Twitter on Twitter at the Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you, as always, for listening. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye. Ted's a rape artist.